Tennessee's Wild Side is a presentation of the Jackson Foundation.
Hurricane Helene brings new light to the powerful impact of storms on our natural resources. Countless trees were destroyed by the hurricane at a time when there's already a big demand on our forests because of population growth. So more trees need to be planted to meet the need, while there's also a growing shortage of seeds. But we know some dedicated people who are trying to catch up and get ahead of the problem.
We call this tree the Adair white oak because John Adair, Revolutionary War veteran, was buried underneath it. We can guarantee that it's not planted because the tree was here when he was buried beneath it. Over 300 years old.
A historic old tree towering over the grave of a patriot stands as a symbol of the past. But the acorns collected beneath its branches can potentially play a part in producing hundreds, even thousands, of white oak trees for the future.
We're collecting seed from naturally occurring trees, so we're here to preserve the genetic diversity of the trees in our area and all over Tennessee.
In her role as an environmental scientist, Erin Victorson is on the front lines of a very specific mission.
My main criteria is they have to be wild trees, not planted.
Not just oak trees, but a list of several other species on both publicly and privately owned lands.
So we look for accounts of trees, historic, landmark. We often consult the Tennessee Urban Forestry Council's website for historic and landmark trees because we can guarantee that they were not planted and they were here before the formation of the United States.
The seed collection is a cooperative effort of the nonprofit American Forests, the State Department of Agriculture East Tennessee Nursery, and the University of Tennessee Tree Improvement Program.
I am incredibly privileged that I was allowed to do these surveys for these incredibly uncommon species, like crabapple and ninebark.
The necessity of Erin's endeavor is forced by a combination of causes, including trees killed by invasive pests or disease, constantly increasing demands for wood products, and shrinking spaces for trees to grow.
There is a lot of development that's impacting our natural resources, forested areas. Some of our older trees, they get highly impacted at the root level when heavy equipment goes over them and they're damaged, and they may or may not recover from that activity. All these impacts for generations now has made it, we're running into issues that we need to make sure we're getting ahead of a problem.
If you look at history, any of civilization, you'll invariably find that the more people there are, the more natural resources are decimated, the naturally occurring trees, plants, animals. And so with the tree improvement program here at the University of Tennessee, our goal is to start to domesticate and make better, more productive trees. And I'll leave that more productive could be better timber, better wood products, better masting quality for wildlife.
The process begins with the seeds Erin and others gather out in the field. The massive weight of her harvest may surprise you.
1,400 pounds of acorns. Crab apples, we've collected 200 pounds this season. We give them to the East Tennessee State Nursery.
But first comes preparation for the journey to the planting fields.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna dump all of this. This is trash, seed. This is just straight out of the bag-o'-nut contraption that we have. And we're just gonna fill this tub up with water. We're gonna wanna give it a stir. All of the sticks, caps, leaves are gonna float to the top and we're gonna be able to skim those out no problem. So all that should be left are the good acorns, so we're just gonna dump this out on the table, nice and slow so we don't lose anything. I'm just gonna spread the acorns around and pull out any debris that the float test didn't catch.
The good acorns are scooped and moved to a dry surface.
You don't want to do this when it's cloudy or else they'll never dry.
The next step utilizes a stack of sifters to separate the acorns by size.
We're just going to count 300 and we're going to pour them through the stream.
The nuts are then placed in labeled plastic containers.
This is 1/2, so we're gonna use our 1/2 bucket. And for each of these, we're gonna count them, and then we're gonna weigh them.
Samples are taken from each container to be photographed, creating a history for each batch. On this day, Gina Souders has traveled in person from the East Tennessee Nursery in Delano to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. She's delivering seeds to be cleaned and cataloged, and she's picking up a load already prepared for transport to the nursery.
These are actually going to be grown at the East Tennessee Nursery, and then they will be sold to the general public. Most of them are doing reforestation efforts because when they purchase trees from us, we're not like a regular nursery because we require that people buy a minimum of 25 trees per species, and that's to help encourage this reforestation effort.
There has been an unexpected reminder of uncertainty in this collection process, a classic case of good news, bad news scenario.
If this wasn't collected, we wouldn't have it anymore. It'd be gone.
The crabapple seeds came from a landmark tree that no longer exists.
In early September, I went and collected from a sweet crabapple off of I-40, just near the North Carolina-Tennessee state line. I collected about 40 pounds of crab apples from that tree. Just a few weeks later,
these images from eastern Tennessee, the bridge completely washed away.
Hurricane Helene came through and wiped out the road, the exit, everything. The tree is gone. And so this is the last opportunity we had to collect seed from this tree. This was the only tree in this county that I had been able to find, and it is gone now. We don't have it anymore.
The 300-year-old oak tree in a cemetery is another reminder for Aaron that nothing in this natural life lasts forever.
Whenever I come here, I kind of worry about this tree because as I walk around the base, it looks hollow. Parts of these, like I can see underneath. And it just makes me think, how long is this tree gonna be here? How much time do I have with it? Or maybe it'll outlive me. It's just, we don't know. Just like the situation with Hurricane Helene and the crabapple getting wiped away in the flood. I didn't know it was gonna happen. It could have been there another 20 years, but we don't know those kinds of things, so that's why this work is really important. This may be our last chance.
As the seed collection process continues, more people from other state government agencies are expected to step up and help. Our website, wildsidetv.com, offers links to more information about the seed collection, the University of Tennessee Tree Improvement Program, and state nurseries.